Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2026 annual family and business budget by Investors Relate. I'm going to be just doing a walkthrough here on how to access the budget, how to start to fill it out. And there's two different budgets. There's a PDF form where you can either print it out or you can open it in Adobe Acrobat and fill it out that way. And there is a text version where on the text version you can actually copy and paste it in your phone notes and then edit it that way, or copy and paste it in other note programs on your computer and make edits that way. So there's two different types. I just want to kind of walk through with you on how to access it and how to start to fill it out. So if you are here already, you can either see this on YouTube or you've already found the website. But if you're seeing this on YouTube, this is how you access the budget. You go to the website investorsrelate.com. That's INVESTORSRELATE.com. So you go to investorsrelate.com. It'll bring you to this page. You'll scroll down a little bit and you'll see where it says where would you like to start. In the center, you'll see the 2026 annual family business budget. So you'll click download now here. And then you can read the description for the budget. It's actually free. You'll just have to enter your email address and subscribe to our email list. You can hit sign up now. All right, then once you hit sign up now, I think it'll ask you to create an email and password or whatever. And then once you create your password, you can sign in. And these are other products that I have. So here's the budget right here. And then you can access now. And then when you access it, you'll see the files here. The video is the file that you'll see later because I'm recording it now. So you'll see this walkthrough video here after it's done being recorded. And you'll see here and you'll be able to watch it. So the PDF version, if you click download, you can download it here. And then of course you can open it after you download it. So this is the PDF version of the budget. What I'm going to do is, let's see if I can open this in Adobe from my computer. Let's go to Acrobat here. So I'll open this in Adobe Acrobat. Let's see. And you can do this on your phone. If you just open it, you'll just download, in your downloads, you can search Acrobat or Adobe Acrobat, and you'll see it as actually free. You can actually open a PDF and you can edit the PDF on screen, put the text in. So let's see if I can find this file. So I'll go to files up here. I don't think you can see where I'm clicking files because I'm only sharing a portion of my screen. So it's loading right now. While that's loading, let's just go back to the budget. So on this budget, after I completed it, I noticed that I was missing childcare, which is like daycare. So if you have childcare, you can actually put that under kids, or you can put that under other at the bottom. So if there are some things on the list that don't apply to you, you can just NA them or leave them blank. If there are some missing areas where you may have other things you need to add to the budget, you can actually add them down at the bottom at other. And then if there's more than that, you can just go down to the bottom and then add additional notes. And you can use the additional notes page to fill it out. But the way this budget is actually set up is your housing and utility stuff is all up here. So what you'll do is you'll put the amounts, put the due date. So some things you might say, hey, it doesn't have a due date, kind of like savings or investments. So if it doesn't have a due date, you can just put the date that you plan on moving it to whatever the savings account. So if that's on your payday, that can be the due date for your savings. If you move money over for your investments, or if you haven't moved money over yet and you want to start moving them over for your investments, you can put the due date as your pay date when you plan on moving them. Excuse me. So yeah, what'll happen is you'll have your mortgage or your rent, your water bill, electricity, phone bill, all of this stuff, and then once you get it all here, the amount, you add the total up, and then you'll get the total. So what this is going to do is all of this is like your monthly bills. So your monthly utilities and housing, your monthly transportation. If you don't know how much you spend on gas every month, so there are a couple apps that you can get. Like if you're a business person and you have like a small business, you can get the QuickBooks app. And what QuickBooks will do is it'll track. Now the app does cost, but it's worth every penny. They have some cheaper versions. Like the version I have is like $100 a month because I do a lot through it. I do invoices through it and everything like that. But they have some cheaper version. I think my little cousin, I think I introduced him to it. I think his version is like maybe like $12 or $20 a month, something like that. So they have cheaper versions. So if you don't know how much you spend on gas, if you don't know how much you spend on food, you can actually get the QuickBooks app if you're a business person. If you're not, Rocket Money, I think it's Rocket Money, Rocket Money, ROCKET. So Rocket Money, you can download that app. You can sync your bank account, and whenever you do a transaction, you'll be able to. Let me go to a Rocket Money. Yeah, so Rocket Money is if you just need to manage your money, keep up with your money, you can actually sync your bank accounts. It'll start showing your transactions coming through, and then you can name those transactions. And after you name them, like the first time, you can save that name. So the next time McDonald's come through, it's gonna know it's fast food. The next time energy comes through, is going to know it's a light bill. The next time Comcast come through, is going to know it's internet. So once you name it one time, it'll automatically recognize, and that's how you can learn like how much you spend on food and eating out. And once you get a little bit of data, say for instance, if you want to know the data at the beginning of the year, you can just look at your bank statements and look at all. That takes a long time. Well, actually, you don't have to look at your bank statement. If you get Rocket Money, if you insert your bank here, and then you take the transaction to a start date where you want to start it. So say if you started last year, it'll show you all your transactions from last year. And then if you see how much you ate the last 3 months total, you can add those 3 months total up and divide them by 3, and you can get an average on how much you spend out on food. So when you're creating this budget, you can know, okay, the average I spend on food a month is $300. And if it's $300, you're like, wow, I didn't even know I spent that much. Then you could try to work on taking that down, which means you can be like, all right, instead of me eating out twice a day or 3 times a day, I'm only going to eat out 1 time a day. And then you can try to take that number down and get that number down. So Rocket Money. And if you're a business owner, QuickBooks is what I use. Actually, I use both. I use Rocket Money for my personal and QuickBooks for my business, so I can keep them separate. So QuickBooks is another one. Like I said, they charge, but I think they have like a cheaper version for so if you like Simple Start, it's like $19 a month. And of course, if you pay for the year, you'll catch some discounts on the pricing. So those are let's exit this. Those are what I use. Page crashed on me, but let's see if I can get this Adobe open. So let's try this out. All right, so let's see if I can file. Okay, so now I can open a file. I'm gonna go to, I think this is in my downloads. All right, so I'm gonna go to family budget. All right, so here we go. So if you got it in Acrobat, might looks a little weird if you've never seen it before, but it's not that difficult. So if you want to do it in Acrobat, you can do it like this. Open it up in Acrobat. And then the way you do it is, I'm not familiar with the phone. I use it on my app a lot. So let's see if I think this is text. All right. So yeah, this A right here, I think is text type. So basically in my amount, if my mortgage is $1,000 a month, or rent is $1,000 a month. Put that 1,000 there. I can put a dollar sign in front of it if I want to, and then I can make it smaller. So if it's too big, I can make it this size. And if it's out of the way, on my phone there's where I can drag. Okay, there it goes. If you hover over it right, you'll get this little T thing. Drag right there. Due date when. I just put the first. That'll be due on the first of every month. If I don't like how I look, I can drag it in the right direction. And I don't have any notes. If you have any notes for your mortgage, like say for instance, if you have to pay escrow at a certain time or a certain month, you can just say escrow is due in December or something like that. Yeah, it's just any notes you have for I spelled escrow wrong. Sorry, y'all. All right, yeah. So if you have any notes like that, then you can do it like that. All right, water bill. Water bills are kind of cheap. Well, some places they aren't. So say water bill $25. Due date will be, say the water bill is due on the 5th of the month. You just put the 5th. And I'm very picky on lining this up. Some people might not care about lining it up, but I do not like my stuff to be out of line. But for time's sake, I'm probably just gonna keep it like that. But like I say, when you see that plus, you can move it. And then notes. I don't have any notes for water, electricity. Wintertime, light bill kind of high, so we'll put $150. Y'all probably like, what kind of bills you paying? These kind of cheap. I'm just making something up. So we'll say light bill is due on the 7th. And sometimes, you can call companies and say, hey, I want these bills to come out, on my payday or something. So you may be able to call some of these companies and say, hey, I want this bill to come out on the 1st. I want this bill to come out on the 1st, where you can get all of your bills to come out on the same day. So you might be able to do that. All right. So phone bill, we'll put like 200. Why are phone bills so high these days? High. All right. Due date. Let's put first. It's interesting doing this. Like as far as my bills, well, I'll put the 30th because my phone bill is due on the 30th. But these bills are due all around the time, so I could imagine if somebody, my pay is kind of flexible. I get paid on different days, but for somebody who gets paid on a certain day, well, most people, that's how it used to be. But for somebody who gets paid on the same day, it can be a little crazy paying these bills at different days. So, like I said, you might want to call them and try to see if you can get all these bills to a closer date. All right, cable and internet, we'll say $100. This is just like a template to just kind of get you through. Let's do on the 2nd. All right, gas, we'll say $45. We'll say it's due on the 3rd. Sewage, say $25. Say it's due on the 1st. So like you get the picture. Like this is how Adobe is real good with this, because you can go in, you can make changes, and you can edit it instead of print it out. But I know some old school people going to print this out for sure, and some people might want to use the text on the phone. I'll show you how to do that in a second. And let's say, and I could put like a note on electricity increases in the winter or something like that. Winter months, increases in winter months. So these are just little, notes to just keep up with, so you can know what's going on. I would say with these budgets, I would say make sure you just check on them once a month at least, or at least once a month. Home improvement. What I do for home improvement, instead of me spending this money, I just kind of put this money over in a little account. So I let it build up, and then once it builds up to a certain amount that I can actually do some home improvement with, then I'll use it. So we'll say $80. So you can just let home improvement build up. And then say, for instance, like my kid did the other day, threw a little in-house basketball, hit my fan broke down. So now I got to get that fixed. So I had to pull that out of the home improvement budget. We'll say that's first, because we'll just put that over whenever we get paid. All right, car note. All right, so let's do this. So let me bring the calculator out. So this is what we'll do when we get to the end of every section. We'll add it up. And this is what this is going to do, is this is going to give us our monthly. It'll give us our monthly budget, how much we need to spend a month, and then once we add it all up, we'll see how many dollars and cents that we were spending in the whole year. This will give us some kind of idea. Of course, there'll be other things, emergency things. I left out emergency on here. Actually, like savings, tithes. I left out emergency fund, so that's my bad on that. But like I said, if it's other stuff, you can always add stuff to it. So we'll add rent is 1,000, so we'll say 1,000 plus water 25. And if you can go in here, I don't know if you can edit this. I don't think you can edit it. I wish it was an edit version. All right, so electricity 150. Phone bill 200. Internet cable 100. Gas 45. And if I get my my numbers off or my spelling's wrong, y'all, don't judge me too hard. All right, so here we go. So that's 1,600 just for a household. That's a lot. Wow, that's a lot of money. So the thing is about a budget. What it does is it allows you to see the real picture. Sometimes we can say, oh, well, I only spend this much a month, and that number can be way off. So a budget brings it clear, allow you to see the real picture, and then you can see, okay, if I'm spending $1,600 a month on household, and then when I add car and everything, and I'm ended up spending like $3,000 a month, and I only make $3,600 a month, then I only have $600 left. So that gives you a clear picture of where you are financially, and it's like, okay, either I need to get another job, or I need to find something I can cut. And sometimes you can go through this stuff, like this first list. There's probably the only thing you could probably cut is a phone bill. If you can maybe pay a phone off or cut a line or something, or get a cheaper plan, you can probably cut a phone bill. You can cut an internet bill, but it's kind of hard to live without internet nowadays. You might be able to cut the cable off and then cut this in half. So once you start budgeting and you see these numbers and like you're looking at these numbers, you're facing these numbers, then you're like, okay, how can I actually save money? In some situations, like I don't even really see where I can save it. And if that's your situation, then you may have to, look to enhance your skill and maybe get a better job, or maybe have to get a side job, at least if it's temporary, so you can actually get in front of these things. So, all right, car note is gonna go next. And this is just like a little template. I don't even know if I'm gonna go through all of these because I want to show you how to do it the other way, but I guess I can. So hold on. Car note. We'll say car note is $500. Car insurance. Car insurance high in it. Say car insurance is $175. Gas. Like this is gas is how you calculate. You can either go to your bank statements, add up all the gas for last month and say, okay, I'll spend about the same amount. If your gas fluctuate, you might want to add up the last 3 months, divide them by 3. And like I said, if you put this in your Rocket Money app, you can add up those, divide them by 3, and then you can see like how much you spend on average, and then you can put that average number here. I know I drive a lot, so my average is about 300. I drive for work though, so this would actually, for me, or if you have a business, gas would go down here in the business section if you are a business owner. But if you're not a business owner, you can't write it down here. So if you're a business owner, mileage would go down here. I don't know why I don't have it here. I think I had it up top because this is basically mostly like a family budget that I really wanted to tackle instead of the business side. But I just added the business just because I know there are business owners that'll be watching this. So, all right, 300. So what's our total here? We got 500. I can add this in my head, I think. 500 plus 300 is 800 plus 175 is 975. But let's just do it to make sure. I'm going to say 500 plus 175 plus 300 equals 975. So we get that. That's 975. And like I said, if you want to do this on paper, great. This is just if somebody wanted to do this on Adobe, we could do it like this. I just want to show this way. I'm not adding due dates. So cars due. I forgot to add due dates here. So let's add them. Let's say car insurance is due on the 15th. Let's say gas is due every day. we'll just say first because we'll add it to our budget whenever we get paid. We'll add that money to our budget. So that's the thing about a budget. It's going to change. It's going to shake up some things because you know how you have that money sitting in your checking account and you're like, oh, that's my money. That ain't your money. That's rent money. That's the water bill money. That's electricity money. That's the phone bill money. But don't worry, because once you get that, once you know that that's the money for that, then you'll start to try to figure out how I carve out money for myself, how I carve out savings without spending my, emergency fund money or something like that. We definitely need emergency fund on here, so we're going to definitely add that to others because your car can break down, tires can go flat, anything can happen, and you want to have that money set aside for that whenever that happens, because we know for sure it's a guarantee that life gonna be life. And so if we know life is gonna be life and guaranteed at least once a year, we need to go ahead and prepare for it. So all right, so tithes. So this is what I tell people about tithes, because I know some people don't pay tithes, and some people do. So with tithes, if you're not paying tithes, this is what I recommend. All right, so I'm gonna put my recommendation here. You can do whatever you want to do with it. All right, so I recommend, like I say, I know it's tight. I recommend that your goal for savings. So I would recommend tithes will be 10%. If you're a person that don't pay tithes and know you don't pay tithes, I would recommend 10%. All right. If you're a person that don't pay tithes and know you don't pay tithes, don't get rid of this 10%. You need to move this 10% to savings. So say for instance, I would normally recommend, if you pay tithes, I recommend 10% for savings. If you pay tithes. If you don't pay tithes, the 10% you're supposed to be paying in tithes, or that I recommend you pay in tithes, I would recommend 20% in savings if there are no tithes. So 10% in savings if you do pay tithes, 20% in savings if you don't pay tithes. All right, 20% in savings if you don't pay tithes. It's kind of scrambled up a little bit. So this is kind of what I recommend here. If you do pay tithes, 10% in savings, 10% in tithes. If you don't pay tithes, don't try to say, oh, well, I don't pay tithes, I can't do nothing with the 10%. Yeah, you move that 10% to save 20, and then you make that 20% for savings. And then if you start paying tithes later, you'll have that 10% in savings, and you can pay it back. All right, so you already have it saved up. Investment, I recommend 10%. So this is aggressive now. This is really aggressive, because if I'm telling you I recommend 10% on tithes, 10% on savings, 10% on investment, that's 30% of your money, which means you can only live off 70% of your money. Some people have problems living off 100% of their money, and I understand, like with the economy, with different things like this just help you see a clearer picture, because in order to get some freedom in your life and some wiggle room, like this kind of needs to be done. So if you can't do these numbers, you might want to do 5% tithes. Well, I can't tell y'all how to pay tithes. The Bible say how you need to pay tithes, so I can't tell you to pay 5% in tithes. So just say for savings, instead of doing the 10, you can do 5, or instead of doing that 20, you can do, instead of doing 10, you can do 5. Instead of doing 10 on an investment, you can do 5, or you can do 1. You can start small. You can see where you're at. How do I know what a percentage is? All right, let's say whatever you make a month, you can put it in a calculator here. So if you want to know what 10% is of what you make, if your check is $2,500, you put 2,500 times 0.10. That's 10% of your 2,500. So if you make 2,500 every 2 or a month, 250 is tithes only. Then that means another 250 go to savings. And that means another 250 go to investments. So if you say 250 times 3, that's 750 of the 2,500. And if you subtract, if you say 2,500 minus that 750, which is the whole 30% that goes to the giving and saving fund, then you'll only have 1,700 left. But based on this budget, we need to make more, because 1,600 is here and then 900 is here. So this is the great thing about a budget. I mean, it's hard when you first start, because it seems like, oh, how am I going to do this? This is just so much. I can't do it. It starts like that. Sometimes it seems like that for some people, but like I said, you can start small. So if you're saying that's too much, I can't afford that, how much can you afford? Can you afford to do 5%? You say 2,500, and then if you want to do 5% times 0.05, equals 125. So you might be able to do 125, 125, 125. That's 375 for all three. That's a better situation. So if you multiply that times 3, that's 375. And then we'll say 2,500 minus 375. Then out of the 2,500 you make, you only can live off of $2,125. That seems. I know you can do that. All right. So, and like I said, if you don't think you can do it, you might need to look for better employment opportunities, or you may need to look for like another job, a part-time job or something like that, or you need to find a good spouse, and then you can link them incomes up and make it work, right? So there you go. All right. So we'll put the amount here. Since we're already at 1625 in household, let's add this up. 1625 in household plus 975 in transportation, 2,600. So we'll act like this person makes $3,000 that we're doing the budget for a month. Oh, well, we still got food and household. So let's just say this person makes $3,500 a month. $3,500 a month will put you at 3,500 times 12 is 42,000. So if you divide that by 52 weeks in a year, that'll put you at $870 a week. So $1,600 every 2 weeks. All right. So we'll assume this person makes 35. If this person makes 3,500, then 10% of that 35 would be $350. Calculator. Sorry, y'all. Trying to get my calculator back. I'm trying to show y'all what it is. I know what it is. 350. So let's put 350. So 10% of that 3,500 that this person makes is 350. 10% here. What this does though, it builds up money on the side like that you ain't even thinking about. So my little cousin, I got a little example for my little cousin again. He had some tires that went out, and then he had to spend some money on his cars. But because he had been putting his money to the side, like I had suggested, he actually had the money to pay for his car. His car to get fixed. His car is like $2,000 to get fixed. And because he was putting that money to the side, he actually had that to pay. And then I told him once you remove, like he did have to pull a little bit out of his savings, but I was telling him once you remove that from your savings, you stay on your 20-10 or your 10-10-10. You stay on your given savings, you put that in first, and then the extra money you put, you pay that $2,000 back. So another thing I would suggest is if you can live off the 70% and you can put the 30% to the given saving, once the month is over, whatever you have left out of that 70%, I would recommend you move 90% of that over to the saving. So say for instance, this person has 3,500, they put 35, 7, 10, I think this is 1050. So if they put 1050 to the side, and then say at the end of the month they had $100 left out of the rest of their money, I would recommend they move 90% of that $190 into the savings and let that savings build up, because you have a new month starting, you're going to get a new paycheck. If that money sits in checking, it's probably going to get spent. So everything needs to have a name to it. And if we make it through the month, we had all our money and we got money left over, we need to move that to savings, because if that stays in checking, that'll get spent. Of course, if you want to do extra stuff, some people may have nieces and nephews that they may take care of or something like that. You need to put that in other, and then you need to put that, like, say how much money you think you give them a month. And if you give them a certain amount of money a month, and once you match it up with your budget, you might be like, wow, that's too much. I can't afford to give that. So you might have to take the percentage down to like 1%. What percent do you give them? If you give them $350 a month, you're giving them 10%. If you're giving them half of that, that's 5%. So sometimes we can give people money and don't even know we can't really afford to do it. It's putting a strain on us until we get to this budget and put these numbers in. So let's go ahead and move through this faster, because we got a lot of other line items. But once you get this, I'm telling you, once you get it, once you start watching it, once you start being conscious of it, it's gonna change your financial future, your financial life. So, all right, so let's say groceries here. So, all right, we got to add these up. 350 times 3. So the total here is 10. And this is gonna bring us to our total annual too. Like, we're gonna add all these numbers up and we're gonna get our annual spending. So we can be like a business. We can know how much money we spend all year. All right, so grocery, let's say grocery is, y'all don't beat me down on this grocery, because y'all can like grocery way more than that. So let's just say grocery 250. I mean, it's for one person maybe. Well, it's supposed to be a family budget. We're going to put grocery at 500. So let's put the grocery at 350, because I mean, I said I'm living off 3,500, but it looks like I'm finna be over budget. So 350, household and supplies. It's like cleaning material, paper towels. If you go to Sam's Club or Costco or something, you can buy that in bundle. Maybe buy it once a year. I mean, not once a year, maybe once every 3 months or something. But if you go to Walmart, you might have to buy it every month. So we'll just say household stuff is about $75. And I know it could be higher than that. I'm just trying to get through this budget. We can say we do this on the 15th every month. Well, we probably need grocery on the first, because we'll starve if we eat on day 15. We'll just say we do this on the first of every month. Eating out. This is something that we could possibly save tremendously on. So we'll just put $150 a month eating out. All right, we say we eat out every day. Every day. I just put first when we add the money to it. All right, kids. Ooh, daycare, all of that. Oh my goodness. All right, kids. We just say daycare is $500 a month. We probably gonna have to increase the budget. I mean, increase the income, because this is a high budget. But we have to be honest about it. But no, some people, like, some of this might not even fit for you. Like, some people might not have groceries. They may have their father that buy grocery for them, or their mother buy grocery for them, or they may stay with their mom, so they don't even have grocery. So some people might not have kids, so this might not even apply to you. So some of this stuff you may leave blank. So even though I'm adding everything, everybody won't have everything. All right, date night. If you got a person you're dating, let's say how much you want to spend on date night on them a month. Now, the way they be talking on the internet, talking about, and they ain't going to Applebee's no more. I mean, you gonna be spending a lot of money, but 100 ain't enough, huh? I don't think 100 enough. All right, so we're gonna do 125 with it. Y'all be like, 125? All right. So pet care, you might not have. Just say somebody don't have a dog, so that's 0. Allowance. So allowance came out of my budget because I give my wife an allowance. And she says, well, it's really not an allowance because I got to pay all this with it. So allowance is like if you give somebody some money, like to help them out, like your little cousin or your little sister, your big brother or whatever. If you get somebody an allowance, how much you give them a month? We'll just put $75 here. Like, this is important to keep up with. You can't ignore it and be like, oh, well, this is all I got. No, you got to count everything. If you let people borrow money, if you know you're going to let somebody borrow money every month, you need to put that on the allowance. You know what I'm saying? You need to calculate every dime so you can have an understanding where you are financially. Let's say life insurance, about $35. And if you don't have life insurance, I would recommend you get life insurance. It's not that high if you're not sick or anything, and you can get policies where if something happens to you, your family get a lot of money when you die. I mean, we know we're gonna die, so ain't no sense of not letting nobody else get paid off of our death. So might as well let them get paid and enjoy the money. All right. So I didn't add up my food and living, so I'm gonna add the 350 plus 75 plus 150 equals 575 total here. And then here I'm going to say this kids, where's the calculator? Keep losing my calculator. All right, so here, let's put this calculator over here. So we got the kids 500, expensive kids, plus 125, plus 75, plus 35 equals, all right, 735. All right, so now here's the stuff we might be able to save on. You're like, we spending all this money, we might as well entertain ourselves. Netflix gonna hit you for what, $19-20 a month? I think it's like 27 now. Amazon Prime with about, I don't know how much Prime is now, what, $14 a month? Apple services, say Apple Music, all of that, Apple Music, Apple Games, all that, we'll just say $15 a month for that. Any other service you have, like hopefully you'll have Rocket Money after this. Rocket Money. I think Rocket Money just let you pick. Well, they used to let you pick a price, and I used to be like $3. It's like, what price you think you should pay? I used to put $3, but I think they might be like $10 a month now. I think they actually might be $9.99 or something like that. We definitely got to get that Rocket Money to help us keep up with it. And if you're gonna use QuickBooks, everybody's not gonna be a business owner. QuickBooks will be, well, that'll be under business expense under office expenses. So we want to put QuickBooks here. But if you have any other streaming services, this is streaming services. So this is not Rocket Money. This is streaming. I thought this was subscriptions. So this is not Rocket Money. We'll delete Rocket Money from here because it's not a streaming service. All right, so we'll say 20 plus 14 plus 15 equals 49. So we got 49 books. There we go. All right, so now we got annual expenses. So I came up with this annual expense thing because my wife was like, we need to go on this trip and this trip and this trip and this trip. One year she was like, we need to go here, we need to go 5 trips a year. And I'm like, so you want to spend, so I added all of them. So you want to spend this, I can't remember what percentage of this. I was like, you want to spend this percentage of the amount of income on trips? And I was like, okay, we can do that, but I'm not paying for them. So all of that got changed to like 1 trip. So, well, that's vacation, but this is anniversary and stuff like that. So if you got anniversary, how do I know how much I'm going to spend on anniversary? I don't know. Start planning in advance. What you get last year, what you get the year before last. How much did you spend the year before last and the year before that? Add them up, divided by 2, that's your average. So anniversary costs, that might get a little costly, but it's don't apply to everybody. So we just put 300. Somebody said, Ali, 300 getting spent. I might need to get married, huh? All right. Birthdays. Oh, that's 300 probably for women. Men, we probably get about $25 spent on this. So women gonna save a lot on that line item. Birthdays, we'll say this is everybody's birthday, like kids' birthday, mama birthday, spouse birthday, boyfriend and girlfriend birthday. Like this is for everybody's birthday. So how much you spend? How do I know? Think about it. Try to calculate it in your head. Get the best number you can. Total birthdays, we can say 200. See, this is how we like. Oh my goodness, we just spending money like we balling, right? All right, Christmas. Oh. This might be the biggest section. Now, if this section comes out more than bills, then we got a problem here, right? All right, Christmas, we say 500. I don't think that 3,500 gonna be another. Other holidays, we just say 0, or we say $30, $50, like 4th of July. You might buy some firecrackers or something like that. Kids, school, holidays, like kids might have to have an outfit for their holidays or something like that. You say $25. And then kids activities. Like if your kids in soccer, basketball, something like that, we'll say $100 fees and stuff like that. $100. Vacation. This is the big one. Oh, I want to go to Cabo. I want to go to Dallas. I want to go to New York. I want to go here. I want to go here. This is when we start thinking about like, all right, what the money looks like. We gonna want to go all we want, but how the money gonna be looking? So we'll say vacation. We'll just say $750. I know that's kind of low, but it costs to live, don't it? All right, let's add them up. Let's see what we get. 300 plus 200 plus 500 plus 50 plus 25 plus 100 plus 750 equals 1,900. This is higher than our bills now. But this is for the year though. All right, this is for the year. This ain't for the month. All right. So we ain't gonna get it twisted. It's for our yearly thing. Now we can divide this by 12 and break it down to a monthly. So if we say divided by 12, we can invest $160 a month to get there. So this is annual expenses. But if we say if we say we divide that by 12, we can get 160 a month, and that'll put us there. So we'll say 160 a month. So that ain't too bad. All right. So if you want to put others, let's put Rocket Money here to start. We're gonna hope y'all get Rocket Money so you can follow your money. I wish I had me a promo code where I can get paid for sending y'all the Rocket Money, but I ain't got it. I ain't got no promo code. All right, due dates on this. You could put the dates like anniversary date. Mine is 11/12. Oops, I gotta get that little plus right there so I can move it up. Birthdays, you can put the birthday date. Just put all the dates for the Christmas. We know that's 12/25. Well, you got a whole year to get ready for Christmas, y'all. You can prepare for it earlier. Other holidays and stuff like that. So make sure you add your due dates. I kind of missed them on here because I was trying to run through the price, but you can add your due dates on here. All right, so now let's add it. Let's add it all up. We got 10 total other. This is 10. All right, let's add it all up. And this is how we get our annual. You want to know how much money you spend every year? That's all you have to do. Add up everything, multiply it by 12. You know how much money you spend every year. So let's say 1625, which is the total for housing and utilities, plus 975, which is the total of transportation, plus 1050, which is the total for giving. Look like we already over budget if we making 3,500, plus 575, which is the total for food and living. 575, plus 735. Plus 735, which is the total for family and lifestyle, plus 49, which is the total for streaming. And we know this is 160 per month, so we'll add 160, which is the monthly rate. What I did was I added all these together, divided them by 12. So I'm gonna say plus 160, and then I add the other, which is Rocket Mortgage, and this plus 10. So my total monthly bills, wow. See, I went over budget. If I make 3,500, how can I spend 5,000? This is a lot of problems in America. This is how it goes. And this is why we had to go get a loan, and we definitely don't want to have to get a loan. All right. So the total monthly would be $5,179 if you had all of these expenses. The way you get your annually spend is you multiply that times 12. And that's how you get $62,000. So this is a total spend of $62,000. Out of the 62, if you're doing this right, 10% of that will be going to savings, which means you would have $6,000 in your savings account if you do this the right way. So if you say times 0.10 on that 62,000, that 10% that you put away every month will be $6,200 sitting in your savings account at the end of the year. If you got an investment account and you're doing it 10%, that'll be $6,200 sitting in your investment account every year, which means we did 350 because we were doing our 3,500, but if we spent 62, we would probably need it. So if you make 62, then that, but if you're making 35, then it'll have to be that, it'll be that price. But so that's the thing, that investment account, that savings account, 20% of your money will still be sitting there unless you have to pull savings for emergency funds or something like that. But 20% of your money will still be there. So it won't be like, oh, I spent all this money, I don't have any money left. So that's the thing about the budget. If you're a business, so business is like, if you got a business, health insurance, you'll add your business expenses up the same way, health insurance, dental, and then you can add other business expenses, but you just do this business the same way. I just wanted to add something for businesses. There's a lot of more expenses, a lot of more write-offs you can use for businesses. I just wanted to have some because I am a business owner, but I really want to focus on this family budget because most people are just, most people work W-2 jobs, and I think this will be way more beneficial and impactful if we can get this family budget underway. Even business owners need to get their family budget and their personal income together first, and in the business as well. So I really hope that you can understand this. All right, so one more thing. So this is how you do it the Adobe way. If you wanted to do it, if you want to download the other file, which is on the website, you will download text, the text file, the TXE. It says text file for phone, and then you download that one, And then if you download that one and open that one up, it'll give you a text copy, and you can actually copy this. So if I drag on this, if you know how to copy and paste, oops, it's gonna let me drag it. Hold on. There you go. All right, hold on. All right, so if I drag all this, copy and paste it, instead of me doing it in Adobe, I can open it in Notes, and then I can just paste it in my notes. And then so some people like using their notes, and I can just add it like this. So I put my rent 1,000, and then I could put the total down here at the bottom. This would be the housing total, transportation total, same way we did it on that sheet. And this would be the total monthly and the total annually. So everything, you can do it in your notes, and you can keep it in your notes. You can adjust them, things like that. So the key thing about budgets, though, is when you do them, you got them done. Let's just get it done first. Of course, it might seem like, oh man, I'm spending too much, I don't want to do it at all. No, let's just get it done. When we look at it every month or every week, every 2 weeks, and we can start to make adjustments. So like, I know one time I was spending, I think I was spending like $380 something eating out, and I'm like, oh, this is too much money. So I had to take that down, and I actually got my eating out down to like 2 something, because I travel a lot. So I started making like little food so I can eat while I'm gone during the day, and then when I get back, eat one meal at night. But if I didn't have a budget, I wouldn't even have been able to see how much money I was spending out and how much money I was wasting that I could have did something about. So eating out, we can do something about that. We can prepare a meal, and then we can, sometimes we eat and we can probably wait another hour or two until we get home, to eat. So there are some things that we can adjust. To say, for instance, if we use gas or something and we're going somewhere where we ain't really got to go, or we don't really have to go, we can save that gas money. So keeping up, having a budget, being able to see where your money is going, then you can make adjustments. And then I'm telling you, if you can just start it, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And then you'll be able to stick with it and stay on budget. And then you'll be able to tell yourself, oh, I can't spend that money because I'm over budget. So I just hope this can help. I just hope it can help you. I hope it adds value to you. And I appreciate you for coming and downloading. So I hope y'all have a great 2026. May God bless you, your family, and the people you love. Peace.